This is an absolute steal for the Chicago Bulls, as recently it was revealed that the Bulls are one of the favorites to land a young star who is going through serious turmoil with his current team that is very similar to the Josh Giddey situation that could lead the Bulls to having one of the most exciting young backcourts in basketball, and we are going to break it all down. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Bulls Digest. It's Chris here. We're going to jump right into things as always. But real quick, guys, if you are part of that 73% that's not subscribed to Bulls Digest, yeah, I'm talking to you right there. If you're not subscribed, I don't think you are subscribed. Make sure to subscribe right now because we got daily videos on the Bulls coming out, and you do not want to miss the latest and greatest Chicago Bulls updates that we got for you every single day. But with all that being said, let's jump into the video. There is a lot to go over on the Bulls right now. As we know, Josh Giddey is going through a difficult contract situation right now, as there are disputes on what his value is. His side is saying that they want $30 million. Meanwhile, Arturas Karnisovas has really made it clear that they're not going over $20 million. They don't want to go over a 4-year, $20 million deal because they believe they have leverage, while Giddey's side believes they have leverage instead. Now, obviously, we talked a bunch about that, and this is not what this video is about. We just did one on that. You can go check that out. You can go see me talk about that and break it all down. But in this video, what we're talking about is Arturas has another move up his sleeve right now that nobody is really talking about, and that is going for a different restricted free agent and overcharging for the Brooklyn Nets to be forced to bring back Cam Thomas or get a very young scoring guard, and then still having bird rights on Josh Giddey and getting a good deal for Giddey, and then having a very nice young backcourt. And it's believed that this is very possible, as right now the top 3 favorites for the Chicago, or for Cam Thomas, are the Detroit Pistons, who are a slight favorite over a tied Charlotte Hornets, Chicago Bulls, and Memphis Grizzlies at plus 400. The Bulls are one of the favorites to land Cameron Thomas, as they do have the situation that is perfect for Thomas to come into. Now, yes, Kobe White's also on this team. That's a little bit redundant between having the two, but at the same time, you can get Cam Thomas on a contract, stealing him away from the Brooklyn Nets, while at the same time also being able to bring back Josh Giddey due to bird rights, and the Bulls not being particularly close to that first apron situation, to where they would be in perfect position to have a very nice, young, exciting backcourt on this team between Thomas and Giddey. It also, I mean, I know, and I'm not trying to pretend like I don't think Kobe White's a great player, because I really do think Kobe White's a great player, but if AK decides, all right, well, we're going to sign Cam Thomas, then we could dangle Kobe White as a real trade option. White would net a serious return due to the way that he finished out this past season and has really shown up and shown out ever since Zach Lavine got traded to the Sacramento Kings. So this would be huge for the Bulls. While they have a nice young backcourt in Josh Giddey and Cameron Thomas that really do complement each other so perfectly on that offensive end, they also have an elite defender now in Isaac Okoro to stick at that 3 spot, create more spacing with Giddey and Cam Thomas both on that team. So also, especially with Vooch as your center, Okoro's spacing issues are not the biggest concern in the world right now. And then also, if Pat can figure out how to hit shots, that makes the Bulls a very young, exciting core, while still having a tank commander in Nikola Vucevic, who would be in a position to put up good numbers and also get dealt at the deadline, so you can go forwards with another year where you get to build through your young players. Obviously, you could also start Matas as well, with that unit at the power forward slot, moving Pat to the bench, you know, where he belongs, considering he is a true 6th man from college who was drafted 4th overall for some reason. But, you know, Tyrese Halliburton was right there and the obvious choice with the need of a point guard at the time. But no, in fact, Lonzo's injured. We're not going to draft a point guard, but what are you going to do? It's the past. You can't change the past. You can only learn from it. But in regards to the Bulls, them being one of the favorites for Thomas is absolutely huge for this team going forward. So they should go for Cam Thomas, a man who put up 24 points per game, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists last season. He started to show a lot more comfortability moving the ball and being a lead guard. Now, he wouldn't be the lead guard here. It would be Josh Giddey, but Now, Thomas would be next to him. He shot 35% from 3 and 44% from the field as the main focal point of opposing defenses all last season on a Nets team that really didn't have any scoring outside of Thomas, so he was left alone a lot of the time. And it was mentioned by Zach Lowe. If Cam Thomas had listened to the subsequent 12 minutes of his podcast that he was saying this on, and he said, I don't think he did, but I don't know, he would have heard me deep dive into his game and talk about a career high in assists, certain kind of passes that he's gotten meaningfully better at, Nick Claxton lobs, little dump-offs, and stuff like that. I have said consistently for 2 years of Cam Thomas dialogue that the guy can straight up get buckets, and there is a place for him in the NBA. To me, that place is most likely a six-man scoring burst guy, which is what I said in that 12-minute segment. Now, there's been times when I definitely agree that Cam Thomas is probably set up best to be a sixth man. I've talked about it a little bit in the past, but really, when we come down to it, there's also a world where you just take this Cam Thomas momentum and you run with it, and you bring him onto this team. It's talent. You bring young talent onto a team that's finally starting to sort of rebuild, which is a good thing to see. I mean, once Vooch is gone, the whole old guard is in the past, and now we get to build up with young players, and you bring on Thomas, you bring back Josh Giddey. You have a very nice young backcourt. You can use that Kobe White contract, which is very friendly, to move him in some deal to a contending team that needs more guard depth, and a lot of contending teams could use the extra guard depth. And look, all of a sudden, things are looking real good for you. So I really like the idea of the Bulls trying to pull this off. I do think the Pistons will go after Cam Thomas as well, though, so the Bulls have to be willing to make some sort of move here. Now, obviously, the situation with the cap space is a thing, and that's a thing with every team. So it's not just the Bulls who don't have cap space, it's every team in the NBA. So you'd be offering Cam Thomas not that much money, but at the same time, you get him on a little flyer deal. Cam Thomas balls out with a very pass-first Josh Giddey at his side. Thomas is in line for a big deal, or the Bulls could trade him, decide, you know what, we used him for a little bit. We're going to dump him off to a contending team because he's on a friendly contract right now if we sign him. And then look at that. We have a great situation that we found ourselves in with a ton more draft capital. Josh Giddey's back, and he's doing his thing. And this could really become a completely genius move from AK and the whole front office. One that should be looked into heavily. I mean, right now, if we just take a look at these just restricted free agents right now, we're going to find a better way to look at this right now. We're going to full screen it up. You see Josh Giddey, you see Jonathan Kuminga, you see Quentin Grimes, you see Cam Thomas. Those are the four big restricted free agents right now. Everyone else is on a two-way. They're all dealing with the same problem. No team has money to threaten them to move away so they can inflate their value and sign with another team, so another team could screw over a rival's cap space who has the restricted rights on their side. So basically, all of them are just negotiating with a team that knows they have no leverage, and the only leverage being had is that qualifying offer, which is a major risk for the players along with the team and could also strain a relationship very quickly. I mean, we saw Kristaps Porzingis get traded off the Knicks because he tried to accept a qualifying offer. That was one of the big reasons why the Knicks ended up trading him, outside of Porzingis saying that he would go play in Spain or just go live in Spain and not play for the Knicks and all that other stuff. But that's not the point of this video. We've seen players be iffy with their restricted free agencies before to try to angle something or move teams. Giddey does not seem like he wants to move teams. He wants to be with the Bulls. He just wants to be paid the same amount that Emmanuel Quickley and I almost said Josh Giddey and Jalen Suggs do get paid. But that's probably not going to happen because there's not too many teams out there. There's no teams out there with money to go after these guys, which makes it tough for all four of Giddey, Kuminga, Grimes, and Thomas to get their money. And that is why we're now looking at a situation where Thomas can leave. But the rest of them, well, not Kuminga as much. He's been involved in trade talks, I mean, specifically with the Bulls even. But with Giddey and Grimes, it does feel like a guarantee that they are going to go back to their teams. The Sixers don't want to let Grimes go after that great run he had, and why the hell would the Bulls want to let Giddey go? And I don't think they do. So I think this does work out pretty perfectly in our favor right here, which is super important to think about. And I mean, an anonymous Nets coach did say, we love Cam. We think he's one of the best scoring guards in the league and an underrated playmaker. We'll see what happens, but our feelings about Cam as a player and a person have never wavered. We love him. And on top of that, Brian Lewis of the New York Post mentioned that the elephant in the room is Cam Thomas. While Nets fans are fretting, a league source said the sides are in no hurry. Likely all of the RFAs right now as well. Or likely like all the RFAs as well, but that's a lot weirder to say. Now, Josh Giddey is an interesting case here as well because he's a lot different from these other guys. He's better than... Really, the only one who has an argument of being better is Quentin Grimes from the way he finished out the year, and I'm still taking Josh Giddey over Quentin Grimes right now. And Giddy put up 14.5 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists per game, getting his steal, shooting 46.5% from the field, and shooting the best from three that he's ever shot, really, in higher volume, where he shot 38% from three and 39% in the corner. So Giddy's grown. He's also 22 years old. You have a chance to put Giddy next to Cam Thomas. And yeah, again, the defense is not going to be great, but that's also what Isaac Okoro is there for. So you could really build something beautiful here with a young backcourt that, yeah, probably is not going to win you a ton of games, but you can really get something out of this and continue your rebuild while also robbing the Nets of their best player, which is never going to hurt that you rob another Eastern Conference team. I guess the problem is they get to tank a little bit easier, but I don't think Cam Thomas is having that much of an impact on wins when he's alone on a team, considering scoring guards or just scoring players alone on bad teams usually don't change the impact because they're playing a whole team and they're trying to keep up the scoring by themselves. So yeah, they'll win you a game or two, but it's not going to be anything league-breaking. So I think this is a perfect situation for the Bulls. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day. I will catch you in the next one.